Yep, we're back live here, everybody. Hi, folks. Hi, at Mike's Magic Auto Detailing and Paint Correction here in Sharpsburg, Georgia. A little bit chilly, but nice and sunny today. How about that, huh? How about that? Oh, man. I love it. I love it. Sunshine puts me in a much, much better mood. Even though it's a little chilly, I think it's sufficiently warm enough that I won't have to shut the garage door and turn the heat on. I think it's warm enough so that my products and tools and so forth and so on will function properly. If not, then I'll have to shut the door and turn the heat on and raise the ambient temperature in the air here. Yeah, the ideal temperatures are between, say, about 50 and 80 degrees for most of this stuff. As some of you may recall who were here previously, we spent, I don't know, 8 to 12 hours or so on the hood. It's all ready for the Optimum Clear Coat Restorer. Now, I didn't go ahead and apply it to the hood until I got more parts of the car ready and prepped, and I'm going to work on the roof today. We'll talk about the plan for that later in this video. And the reason I'm doing that is you need to get as much of the car ready to go as possible, because that Optimum Clear Coat Restorer, it's a wipe-on clear coat basically. Comes in a 9-ounce can. It's about $100, give or take, with postage, handling, all that kind of stuff. And once you open it, the clock is running. It doesn't last long once you open it. Even though I keep it in the freezer after I open it, if I don't use it all, it's still, the clock is running. So what you want is as much car of the ready as possible before you actually start applying that stuff, because then there's a pretty good long period of curing after that. So I want to get as much of this car ready as I can before I start that. Now, what I'm considering doing is, as I get these panels prepped and ready to go, somebody was watching, is I'm going to put some kind of light temporary protection on this naked paint. I like that word, naked. But just to protect it a little bit until I get ready. Then, of course, I'll have to paint prep that off, which I would have to paint prep it anyway before putting the clear coat restorer on there. So anyway, back to the roof. My plan today is I'm going to attack this with the aggressive clay bar first, and then I'm going to use the 3000 grit damp wet dry sandpaper on a orbital sander first. A lot of times that's less aggressive than just jumping straight to the compound, because your rotary buffers, your DA buffers, they generate a lot of heat, which can do more damage to your paint and use up more of the clear coat than you might with just the 3000 grit sandpaper, or so I've been taught. And here's another one of the tools I have out. This is a paint thickness gauge, something you should always do. I got this one off Amazon. They've come way down in price. My first one was probably 3 or 4 times the cost of this one and doesn't work nearly as well. It's been zeroed out and calibrated a few minutes ago. And what this does, it tells me how much paint I've got left to work with. And folks, that's in mils. So we got around 10 mils of paint to work with, and that's a lot of paint. But what that tells me is that when Maaco, and I've tested the rest of the car, it's all about the same, is that probably Maaco, when they repainted this car, probably just scuffed it up and then painted over the old OEM paint. I'm not sure about that, but that's a lot of paint. So they really put it on thick either way. And what I wanted to show you, some of the things that I'll be going after today. There's a lot of defects in this roof paint. Some of it has occurred since I last worked on it, which was, I don't know, a year or so back, and it's sat outside a lot, has accumulated a lot of contaminants on the paint, and some of it has embedded down into the paint. A lot of chemical etching that you can see there. Hopefully my procedure today will get rid of most of that. There is a big spot. I can look at that visually. I don't know if y'all can tell in the camera, but whatever that chemical is, or materials where they got left behind, probably from rain or splash over or something like that, or just stuff falling down out of the sky, getting caught in the dew that accumulates on the car at night when I have to leave it outside. It is really bonded and perhaps embedded into the paint some. It's all over this roof. You can see it. There's some scratches. There's a scratch there. It's catching on my fingernail, so I might can improve that some, but it's too deep. No amount of sanding or compounding or buffing is going to get that out. Maybe some of these other light scratches those are what I call love marks. They're just on the surface of the clear coat. There's a little one there, who knows. It doesn't look bad at all. There's some other scratches. There's one there. Let's feel that one. Yeah, I can't barely catch that one with my thumbnail, so that one may, I figured 90-95% go away. And it's a pretty similar situation all over this whole hood. So first I'm going to clay bar it, then I'll wet sand it, and then I will compound it with the rotary buffer that I showed you yesterday, the big Bruiser DeWalt one probably. And then once we get done with that, this section will be ready for the clear coat restore. And then I think what I'm going to do, I hope I could pick this up for you guys. Let me turn some more lights on here. Hold on. Yeah, this make no paint job. You know, from back here it doesn't look bad. It's what I call the 4 foot, 6 foot test. But as you move in closer, and I'm going to try to pick this up for y'all, you can see it's almost got a gritty texture to it. And when you feel of it, it's rough and pebbly, you know, and you'll have all that, and then all of a sudden you'll have a nice, smooth, shiny spot, which the shiny spot is down lower than this. So my plan is to use the same approach on this that I've done on the hood and the roof. And I've done this before, but very lightly, and improved it to some degree. And the clear coat restore helped it a lot, like I say, for when you back up here. But I just want to see if I can improve it more and how much I can improve it. And there again, the paint thickness gauge tells me there's a fair amount on there. And plus, I think I showed you this before, that streaking there is from me misapplying the clear coat restorer on it in the past. Plus now it's got ceramic coating over the top of it and a topper on top of that, which is one reason it stays clean, and it's much easier to clean. You know, down the vertical surfaces aren't too bad. There's a little streaking here and there, which I will endeavor to get out and improve. But these horizontal surfaces are my main focus, you know, the front end's hammered. They always get hammered. I have fixed rock chips in it before. I've had a few more show up. I'll have to do some touch-up work and try to fix those. And in fact, there are some places on the hood where I have some rock chips. I don't know if y'all can see that one. There's one right there. There's one in that red paint on this hood scoop, or whatever you want to call it. And there's a few more. And in fact, what I may do is go around the hood and try to touch those up as best I can and let those cure before I put the clear coat over it. There's a scratch right there that's really deep. You can see it's so deep. I mean, I could feel it rubbing across this fake finger on it. I can feel it all the way up through the stem of this pointer. That's really deep. No amount of wet sanding, buffing, compounding, nothing is going to get rid of that. It's all the way down to the primer, if not deeper. So I'll probably see if I can put some touch up in there as well. Yeah, you know, just to make it kind of disappear. And there's another part of that scratch. I did that. I dropped something. Oh boy, oh boy. Sometimes with my RA, you know, things just get away from me. And I might want to do a little bit more buffing in that spot. Don't know yet. I'll see. But I'll try to get rid of some of those in all likelihood. Although, you know what? It's not a show car. It's not a big deal. I don't care how good you are at touching up. This will not completely disappear. It won't look like a new paint job, but it will reduce the glaring deficiency that immediately meets your eye when you look at it. But no touch-up paint, none, is going to blend in perfectly with that, unless you have a paint shop, a paint booth, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said earlier, basically this hood needs a repaint, as does the rest of the car. This fender here is very similar to the one I just showed you on the other side. I don't really have any down the vertical surfaces. This fender has some of the same stuff on it, but not quite as bad as the other side. Of course, the trunk is a complete loss. That was a big bubble that was on the paint when I bought this car, I think, 4 years ago. It had this Mako paint job on it then. I saved that for a number of years, but during my busy time when Sally had to sit out in the hot sun, the cold weather, blah, 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 and the paint expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting, it finally busted loose. I've got a guy lined up to repaint it for me. I'll repaint that whole thing, just get it close as I can. I'd like to have the whole car repainted, but don't have the money for that right now. I have the wing repainted because, as you can see, there's a rock chip or something there. It's all the way down to the primer. I got to redo the letters because that one there turned loose. I don't know why. I mean, I installed those. I've got another set over there, so I'll just replace the M and hang on to the rest of them and see what happens. There's some bubbling here on the bumper, which will eventually turn loose. It will eventually, but I'll put some paint conditioner on it and try to save that. Same thing with this bubble here. We'll see. I mean, you can see, look at this. Woo-wee. Man, I worked on this one a lot before and it improved it, but from sitting outside, it has almost reverted back to as bad as it was to begin with. But I'm going to work on it some more and see what we can do. Anyway, folks, I appreciate everybody that tuned in or may tune in at a later time. Oh boy, you know what? Oh, there I am. Oh boy, I got to stop doing that. I don't think it's good for viewership. Me in the mirror or the glass. And I will put the new titanium coating on this glass when I get a chance. Oh man. Although it looks pretty good with the coating that's on there now, which has been on there a couple of years. Boy. But I'm going to get to work now. I had to go to town this morning and get me a new orbital sander. I just happened to grab that one because my other one basically blew up. Hell, I think it's over 20 years old. It belonged to my dad and it just started disintegrating. Even though it still runs, I don't know if it's worth trying to repair it or not, but I'll keep it, and at my leisure I'll try to fix it, and if I do, I'll keep it as a backup. Folks, I do appreciate you guys. I miss all of you, the ones that I used to see. I would love to see the ones of you that I have never met, if we ever get the opportunity. Hey, let me know in the comments below where you're watching from. I'm always interested. I find that a big curiosity to know where everybody's at that's watching. Because I get some people, I've had a guy from Canada watch me before. Can you believe that? Canada, for Pete's sakes. And Colorado and a couple other places. And, you know, I checked my stats last night. I was absolutely astounded at the number of people who had viewed my videos from yesterday, the highest of all time. You know, and I've done some really cool cars in the past, you know, Nova SS's and all that kind of stuff, and none of them got the exposure for some reason that these did. I think maybe because it's a holiday weekend and people were sitting around with not a whole lot to do. They were bored. They say, hey, you know, I'm bored. I may as well watch this guy. But I do appreciate it. It helps out my algorithms. When you like, tag, you know, if you know somebody that you think might enjoy watching this sort of thing and maybe learning a little bit about this kind of stuff, you know, tag your friends on the comment section down there and share and subscribe if you're on YouTube, all that stuff. They say it all helps me out. Helps me out do what? I'm not real sure, because I'm not trying to get famous. I'm not really that good at this stuff to be famous at it. My videos and stuff are not that scientific and well laid out, not that sophisticated. But anyway, thank you everybody. Have a great Sunday.